Welcome to the Moms Who Know podcast, the podcast for moms who want to take care of themselves so they can take better care of everyone else. This episode is sponsored by my program, Mind Body Transformation. If you want simple strategies for lifelong health, you'll definitely want to check out this program. Visit momswhoknowpodcast.com to get all the details. Hello and welcome to the Moms Who Know podcast. I'm here with Lexie Kite. Lexie, thanks so much for being on the show.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
I am excited to talk to you today. So you guys probably have heard of Lexie and her sister, her beautiful twin. Lexie and Lindsay are the creators of Beauty Redefined, and I love their message and everything behind what they're doing. We're going to talk a little bit about that today and about true beauty, about the media's idealized version of beauty, all these things. And Lexie and her sister have done such good work in this area. They're really kind of paving the way for all of us to understand who we are and what beauty is. So I just appreciate the work you are doing so much, Lexie. I think it's so good.
I appreciate it. Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah. Well, to start, I would love for you to tell us kind of the history behind Beauty Redefined and just what led to you and your sister starting this all up.
Yeah, absolutely. So we are identical twins, and we weren't ever planning on taking the same course in life. We were always trying to be different. And our freshman year of college, we decided to take separate classes. We were both in the same major in journalism. We were at Utah State University in 2003, I guess it was. And we were trying to be different. So we had to take the same required course for all journalists in media literacy. And so we took two different sections of the class so we wouldn't have to be in the same class. And I remember going to this class on the first day and just hearing a brief introduction that talked about what media literacy is and why it's important. It's this ability to critically read and understand media messages, why they are created the way they are, that most media is profit driven. And that's why women are represented the way they are. That's why women have to fit these certain ideals to be represented positively. All of a sudden, my heart pounded faster. I felt what felt like a very spiritual prompting. I had goosebumps. I felt like crying. I knew that I was hearing truth in that classroom. And that truth was whispering to me that I had been impacted by this and that I could do something to fix this problem. I didn't know what that was, but I felt it very powerfully. And I went home to the dorm room I shared with Lindsay, and I told her what happened to me. And she said, the exact same thing happened to me. Wow. We had a very twin-like experience where it was just this very first step to learning that things don't have to be this way. The feelings that I had always experienced toward my body, where I'd always felt a little bit defined by my body and my beauty. And I never felt like I measured up. That's how all of my most beautiful friends felt as well. And I started realizing that it doesn't have to be that way and that we could be doing something different. So Lindsay and I went on to 10 straight years of college. We graduated with our doctorates at the University of Utah in 2013. And during the course of that time, through our masters and our PhDs, we developed the nonprofit Beauty Redefined, which is here to teach people body image resilience, which is the ability to believe that you are more than a body. And the pain you experience in your body, the little pain and the big pain, the little pain of feeling self-conscious in your body, the big pain of experiencing really difficult things in your body, like weight gain and weight loss and miscarriages and divorce and so many things. Those things can be used as a catalyst for growth, for experience, for compassion, for purpose. And now we do that through live speaking events across the country for many years now. At universities, we do regional firesides for the LDS Church. We speak at treatment centers, and the list goes on. And we also do that through our website and through an online body image course that we have available for individuals on our website to get to this life-changing place of body image resilience.
This is just so good and so needed. Now, you said that you felt, you connected with this and you realized that this is why you had felt, that media led to how kind of you felt about your body. So did you have issues growing up with, not feeling good in your body, or just kind of the standard generic way that most people struggle?
Yeah. I mean, I had never resorted to extremes. So I don't think I would have ever been diagnosed with an eating disorder. I hadn't utilized any sort of cosmetic surgery, but I had lived this life. We refer to it as self-objectification. It was a big part of my research. It's this idea that most girls and women throughout the course of their lives, it begins at about puberty and continues throughout the course of your life. You live to be looked at. You live through this perspective where you are picturing yourself being looked at and your body monitoring yourself constantly, even when you're alone. It's so easy to do that. And it rings true to so many girls and women because we live in this world that convinces us our bodies are the most important things about us. And as we fix and decorate and beautify our bodies, that's when we will receive love and success, and we will be fit and healthy and be happy, all of these things. And so I definitely felt that way growing up. I had, wonderful friends and a wonderful mom who also felt defined by their bodies, and they felt bad about themselves. In the meantime, I know my mom and my grandma and all of the people in my life, I don't blame them, but they definitely would talk about themselves negatively. And of course, all the media I consumed did the same thing. My favorite show was Saved by the Bell. And in Saved by the Bell, all the girls are beautiful. And if they're not, they were shamed and mocked. And, they couldn't, experience love for themselves. They were like the funny sidekick. So yeah, I definitely felt it through my life. And now I can definitely say that I am so grateful for that shame I felt. Because if that shame was invisible to me, I wouldn't have this purpose in my life. I wouldn't feel this calling that I hope, and I've seen some impact, has really benefited women to realize they are more than bodies. They're here to do more than decorate the world, that we can do more than just live in this invisible prison of constantly fixing our flaws, in quotes.
Yeah. And that's exactly what it boils down to, right? Is that we think that our happiness, our purpose is our body. That's the lie that we get caught up in.
Oh yeah.
If I'm beautiful, I'll be happy. If I'm beautiful, things will be good. And then all my problems will go away and be solved.
Absolutely. That is this message that we send as well-meaning individuals to each other. We send it every time we compliment somebody on their weight loss when we don't even know if they were trying to lose weight. We're reinforcing this idea that thinness is better. And when we talk to each other about, oh, I feel so ugly today, or I need to get my eyelashes done, all of these things are just us talking about and defining ourselves as bodies when we have so much more to do. My research in self-objectification, which is just this light bulb that goes off in people's heads when they learn about it, tells me that not only do most girls and women self-objectify or picture themselves being looked at instead of just living, but that very act of doing that over the course of your life holds you back in every imaginable way. You don't go up for promotions or for opportunities. You don't work out because you feel too self-conscious to be being looked at by other people. You feel bad in your relationship and you don't want to be sexually intimate with your partner because you don't want to be seen. You don't receive pleasure from that. All of these things add up to this place where we are wildly unhappy when we define ourselves by our bodies. And no amount of fixing, in quotes, will ever make us happy. That happens on the inside mentally. It cannot happen on the outside.
Yeah. It's just, I can see this so much and I identify with this so much in, how I used to be. And I've talked about this on the show before, but this is something I really struggled with. And to the point of, all these things you're talking about, I would not have been able to do this podcast, which is audio only.
Absolutely.
It doesn't even make sense, right? No one can see my body right now. And yet like you talked about, even when you're alone, you mentioned that you are body monitoring yourself, even when you're alone. And so even something like this, I would have been too self-conscious to do, which is just so crazy when you think about it. And yet we can all identify with it.
Yeah, I seriously feel so incredibly passionate and feel so much truth every time I tell women. And what I want to tell your listeners is that we all have purpose. We have unique responsibilities here. The pain we experience might be the very thing pushing us toward more purpose, more compassion, more strength. We are not here to be looked at. We are not here to be a pretty ornament or a pretty vision. We need women, and we need all of women. I believe in women, and I believe that if we can step out of this place that is so painful and so real for so many of us, these very uncomfortable comfort zones where we live to be looked at instead of just living. When we can unlock the key to that prison, when we can break free, which is possible through the work we do in body image resilience, the whole world opens up and the whole world benefits. I've seen it. I know it. I believe it. And I'm so glad you're doing this podcast, which takes you out into the spotlight where it's so scary to be, but it's so necessary because people need you.
Well, thank you. Yeah, I definitely agree. I think that's so powerful, all of that you just brought up. And we need everyone's gifts, and we hold ourselves back when we are too caught up on how we look, and that becomes our focus. And clearly we know where that comes from, right? That's not our God-given divine worth. That is from another place. That is from someone who wants to hold us back, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So I would love to talk about then, as we work on this body image resilience. Let's actually talk about that. How do we do that? You know, people can listen and say, well, yeah, I see this. I am self-objectifying. I want to be better. How?
This is what we do. This is the most exciting thing in the whole world. I don't want to like toot my own horn, but I honestly believe that what we are doing at Beauty Redefined will change lives in a way that no other body image work can do. So many people come at this issue of girls and women who feel negatively about their bodies, and they try to alleviate the problem by telling you how beautiful you are, flaws and all. And we are here to tell you that you are more than beautiful. You are more than a body. And body image resilience is this amazing pathway people can take, basically. Let me explain a little bit about what it looks like in a person's life. So we all live in a comfort zone. Research shows us, and personal experience makes very clear, that most girls and women are living in a really uncomfortable comfort zone, but we just live with it. We feel badly about our bodies. We're constantly trying to fix ourselves in new ways and buy new products and hide ourselves in all of these ways that hold us back from the world because we believe we're here to decorate instead of have more purpose and do. So for so many of us, the way out of your comfort zone, you don't even know it's happening, but we all experience disruptions. Disruptions are big and small. They happen every day or every few days, and some of the big ones happen once in a lifetime. They're anything that changes the way you perceive your own body. So it can be something little like a comment somebody makes about your weight. It can be something big like giving birth or getting married or an illness or a disease, anything that makes you feel differently about your body or see yourself differently. And those disruptions, most of us just kind of swallow. We do whatever we can to just stay in our very uncomfortable comfort zone, just to get over it, just to get through it, because that's where we feel comfortable. So we sink deeper into shame by unhealthy coping mechanisms, like so many things. So many girls and women these days are cutting themselves and abusing themselves through self-harm just so that they can feel something. Others of us abuse prescription drugs or illegal drugs. We resort to things like disordered eating. We take the pathway of just being in our comfort zones by just hiding and fixing ourselves into oblivion, where we, if you get invited to go swimming and you feel uncomfortable about your body, you'll say in your head, okay, I'll go swimming next time. I need to lose this amount of weight, or I need to fix this part of me. That's hiding ourselves. That's a terrible thing. And the fixing ourselves happens consistently too, from eyelash extensions to, like dyeing our hair to cosmetic surgery. The list goes on. It's everything. It's all the beauty work. But listening to this podcast can serve as a disruption to your comfort zone. This disruption can help you move to rise with resilience, the first and best path. You can do that by calling upon innate traits that you have within yourself that you're born with, and learned traits that we can help you identify at Beauty Redefined that can help you get there. And I can talk to you about a couple of those strategies you can use to get there if you'd like.
Yeah, let's come back to that. I definitely do want to talk about strategies, because I love I love when listeners have takeaways that they can put into practice. So let's come back to that. But first, I want to clarify just a couple things. So one of those is beauty work. So anything from eyelashes, hair dye, whatever those things are that you mentioned. Now, are those inherently bad and something that we should stay away from? Or are you saying something else?
That's a great question. I think, and we believe, that everybody has to draw the line for themselves in terms of the beauty work they participate in. We know that this is heavily skewed toward being a burden for women. We don't ask men to do much by way of beauty work. We don't ask them to implant things into themselves and make other parts of themselves smaller, to wear makeup and have long flowing hair and eyelash extensions, and the list goes on. So it's important to be aware of what each one of us does in terms of beauty work. For myself, I would never shame or blame anybody, first of all, for what they do in the name of beauty, even on the most extreme ends of the spectrum, because I know as well as anybody how hard it is to live in this world as a woman. But I think it's very important to take inventory and to make sure that what you're doing, you aren't doing out of shame. So I wear mascara, and I have decided that because a lot of times for me, mascara is like make it or break it. If I'm not wearing mascara, I think I'm going to look terrible and people are going to think I'm disgusting. So I make a rule every once in a while that I leave the house without mascara. And that proves to me that it's okay and I'm still alive and nothing changes in the world because I don't have mascara on. That's one way that I can alleviate the shame from the beauty work that I do. So I would just ask that everybody take inventory of what they do. And it's a really good idea and a really empowering idea to pull back on ways that you can. I decided to stop coloring my hair years ago, which has saved time and a lot of money for me, which has been great. Little things like that, things that you can do to show the world just a little bit more reality and put your money and your time and your energy into other things. That's what I'd say there.
Okay, that's a great answer. I'm thinking here like, okay, do I ever, because I'm the same way. It's my eyes, like, okay, gotta have my eyeliner, gotta have my mascara. And it's an interesting question for introspection. Like, why do I do it? And where is the line? And I love that idea of just go out without it. Just be there.
To yourself that it's okay. And also show the world what it looks like to be a woman in all its varieties and capacities.
Yes.
It's important.
Okay. I love that answer. That's really good. Now, one more question before we go back to strategies. And that is, you mentioned earlier briefly about how we say to other women, oh my gosh, you look so great. Have you lost weight? And, you're so beautiful and all this. And we do that a lot as women. That's a way we connect, a lot of times is to reach out and tell people that they look good. Now, how about that one? Is that something that we should avoid intentionally?
This is something we talk about a lot at Beauty Redefined. And it is important. It is so easy for girls and women when we see each other to talk about each other's bodies and to comment on each other's photos on any sort of visual social media and say, oh, you look so skinny, I'm so jealous, or your outfit is amazing, any of these things. But this is a way that we are still keeping ourselves in this place of objectification where our bodies are the most important thing about us. And so one thing you can do is to keep in mind that when we stop giving beauty the power to make us, we take away its power to break us. This is important. Dig deeper when you want to give a compliment to somebody. Of course, a looks-based compliment can be nice. Sometimes it's not. When you are talking about a person's body size or shape, that is almost never helpful. Because if they have lost weight and you don't know how, you don't know if they are resorting to unhealthy extremes, like so many millions of women in this world are. You don't know if they're depressed or sick or something else is going on with them. And complimenting them in that way might be the exact opposite of the thing they want to hear. But also, just in general, when we're talking to people, when we dig deeper and give a compliment about a person's character or a talent, you can say, I see you always sit by that woman at church that nobody ever talks to. And you have been the best example to me that I just need to get out of my comfort zone and I need to serve people like that. Things like that, they stick with you. Those are things that help women be elevated above this place that we are just here to be looked at. And it is incredibly valuable.
Yes. Okay. And I would add to that my own experience with when I do get compliments on, you
Yeah.
look so good or you look so skinny. Throughout my years when I
Yeah.
was really struggling with that, I
Yep.
lived for it. And if people didn't
Absolutely.
say it, then I had a problem, right?
Absolutely.
So I was like, oh no, why didn't anyone tell me I look skinny today? I must be, I need to look skinnier so people will tell me. And it really fed that unhealthy cycle. I'm
Exactly.
looking for that on the outside. And so, yeah, it just
Yeah,
feeds it. It feeds
exactly.
the beast there in
I'll
every
give
way.
you an
Yeah.
example I experienced. It was like a couple of months ago. I was walking into work, and the woman at the front desk is so kind, but doesn't exactly know what I do with Beauty Redefined, I think. And I had had the flu for 2 weeks. And she, for those 2 weeks, probably from about the first week on, when she would see me, she would say, "Oh my gosh, you look so thin. You look so great." And I stopped her, and this is a way that you can talk to somebody, because it's so hard to do when somebody's complimenting you. But I stopped her and I said, "That is so nice of you to say, but I want you to know that I have been legitimately sick for the last 2 weeks. I haven't been able to eat. So those compliments are going to stop when I gain that weight back. And I promise you, I'm going to gain this weight back." And I laughed, but I was telling her the truth. And guess what? The compliments have stopped because I have gained the weight back, and it doesn't feel good, because for 98% of people that lose weight, they will gain it back within 1 year. And when those compliments stop, it tells you everything about what people value. So I'd be careful
Yes.
with that.
Oh, I'm glad you brought that, shared that example. That's just so good. Okay, now let's talk then about strategies and specific things that we do and ways that we get into this better place with our body image.
Yeah. Absolutely. Okay, this is my favorite part. We share all of this on this online course. It's this whole pathway, but I want to give your listeners just a couple of snapshots of what they can start doing right now. So one thing they can do to really access their physical power for body image resilience, physical power is the very best way to do this is to believe and take in that your body is an instrument, not an ornament. So that means a few things. On the one hand, that means you probably can't measure your health and your fitness the way you've been measuring it, which is by arbitrary numbers that actually just measure the outside of your body, like your weight, your body mass index, your measurements, your dress size. Those are things that don't actually tell you anything about your health or fitness. They only tell you about the size and shape of your body. So instead of counting your fitness in those objectifying ways, start paying attention to what you can do and how you feel. And that means setting fitness goals that have to do with those things. That means setting a goal that could sound like this. I am going to walk around the block every day for the next month. Or I am going to go to that fitness class I've been wanting to go to. Or I am going to swim this number of miles. Talk about things in terms of what your body can do. And I promise you, you will experience resilience and positive body image in a really powerful way. And it will take you out of this place of exercising in order to lose weight. When you do that, or when you pay attention to your weight, shame is involved. Because when you don't lose weight from exercise, which is very possible and very typical for so many women, then shame sets in. And you say to yourself, well, this isn't working, so I don't have to work out anymore, and I'm going to eat whatever I want because I feel like crap. And that is not healthy.
Yeah.
That is not health. So try that. It'll work, I promise.
Oh my gosh. Yes. And I love that part of it, because that is what we do, right? Like you set goals. I'm going to lose X number of pounds. And then you do these things to lose those pounds, but you cannot control how much your body weighs. We just are not in control of that, And it doesn't, like you said, that doesn't tell our fitness. We might have just had the flu and we lost 10 pounds. That doesn't mean we're healthier in any way. And so when you're setting these goals that you're talking about, when you're setting a goal to do something, it's something you can objectively do. And how much better are you going to feel from having done that and accomplished that? And then you have that sense of accomplishment where when you say, my goal is to lose 10 pounds, you may never accomplish that. And that, like you said, feels like crap.
Or if you do accomplish it, then you look down at the scale and you look at your body and you think, oh, I thought I would look different. Yeah. Or, oh, now things are saggier than they wanted to be. So now I need to plump this up. There's all these ways that we just remain in this invisible prison. You cannot fix your body image by fixing the outsides of your bodies. It doesn't work. And you know that by looking back at times where you were thinner or you had less wrinkles or fewer stretch marks. You were not happier, because happiness is based on experiences and relationships and purpose and resilience. It doesn't come from the outside of your body. It can't. Okay, another strategy that is incredibly important harnesses your mental power to get you to resilience. Girls and women spend a lot more time on social media than boys and men. It is the way it is. And time spent on social media leads directly to feelings of isolation, self-objectification, low self-esteem, loneliness, and anxiety. And you know this on a fundamental level. I know that when I am just deep in somebody's Instagram page, I do not feel better about myself after I have scrolled through their years of images, because you are comparing yourself. It is inevitable that that's what we do in visual social media. So the best thing you can do to harness your resilience is to go on a media cleanse. It takes at least 3 days. So do whatever you can to take at least 3 days and stay away from all forms of media. I would say especially social media and then TV and movies. But definitely stay away from these things for at least 3 days. And as you do it, you become really sensitive to the messages that hurt you, that keep you in this self-objectifying place, to the messages from even well-intentioned friends that are not helpful for you when you are trying to be more than a body. And then when you come back to social media, when you come back to media, you have power to take control of what you're viewing. Hide, unfollow, unsubscribe, spend your money differently. There are so many things you can do to feel better. And it really will harness your mental power in a way that's helpful and necessary for so many of us.
Yeah, that is super powerful. I can see how that would make a huge difference. Now, why 3 days? Why does it take that long?
Research shows that that's how much you need. You know that if you've been to camp, if you've been to a girls' camp, when I have come home from those camps or when I've taken a media cleanse on my own, I feel different. You suddenly, when you're listening to the radio on the way home, it sounds grosser. You hear the objectifying messages in a way that you wouldn't have otherwise. Things that are invisible to you because objectification is literally everywhere, even from your well-meaning loved ones, it is perpetuated everywhere. Suddenly those things, they become visible to you again. So you could do it for less. It's helpful if, a lot of people do it on like a Sunday. They'll just take the Sunday off. Of course, that is helpful. But if you really want that boost, I would go a little bit longer.
Okay, that makes sense. I've done that with other things, like even your palate. I feel like if you are trying to eat healthier and, cut out all sugar for a while, just to kind of refresh your palate, it tastes different when you have the sugary stuff again. It's really sweet.
Yeah, it's true.
And so it's kind of the same concept. You see clearer after you haven't had it for a while. You don't have that same desensitization that you have otherwise.
Totally.
Now, in the last little bit of time we have, I want to kind of get personal and ask you, in your years of doing this work, so looking at Lexie, pre-2003, before you had this class and before you started all this work to now, how do you do things differently in your own life, both mentally, like with how your thought patterns are, and then with how you are interacting with the world? Obviously, this is your job, and so you're talking about it all day, but personally, like the things that you're doing.
I love it. That's a great question. My life has changed drastically because of this. Over the course of running Beauty Redefined for the last almost 10 years, I have gained weight. I have lost weight. I've had a baby. I've gotten married. I've had skin cancer. I had melanoma and had to have a major surgery and my lymph nodes removed. All of these things were disruptions to my body image. But because of the work I'm doing, they have been able to be a catalyst for positive change instead of sinking deeper into shame. So now, one thing I do that is incredibly important and has taken me a long time is that I don't diet anymore. Dieting is another way that we perpetuate that thinner is better, and dieting doesn't work. And you know that if you talk to any dietitian, dieting in whatever form you do it. And I know that many of your listeners diet because we all diet. We all live in diet culture, which tells us that we need to be monitoring our food and we need to be, consuming less calories or counting our macros or consuming less carbs or whatever it is. But honestly, a dietitian will tell you that dieting is no healthy way to live. And if you can instead work on mindfulness It's an incredible new way of doing things. So I practice mindful eating when I can. And I do my best to just consume a healthy diet. And you know what that means? I've gained weight over the years. And you know what that means? It's okay because of body image resilience. Gaining weight is okay. I still show up in this world. And that's hard to do because I'm doing live speaking events and a lot of media appearances, and I'm talking about bodies, and my body is on the forefront. But you know what I hear? Two very opposing messages. I hear a lot of comments that say, oh, you're too fat and ugly. You're just jealous of beautiful women. And I hear the opposite. You are too beautiful and you don't know what it's like to be ugly and fat and old or whatever it is. Both of those messages, that's just objectification. That's just silencing me because of objectification, because they're seeing me as a body. And that tells me to just keep going, that it's okay. No matter what I look like, I have to keep doing this. And my message for your listeners is it's okay. No matter what you look like, just start to believe that your body is an instrument, not an ornament, and that you have purpose that extends so far beyond the way you decorate the world. You can use your pain for power. I've surely used my pain for power. And of course, this is an ongoing, lifelong journey. None of us just discover body image resilience and we're good for life. It's, of course, a roller coaster. But I do try to do things differently. And I hope that whatever I'm doing is a good example to my daughter, to my husband, to people that are watching me, because that's what I want more than anything.
Yes. Isn't that so telling that those are the things that people are saying, that they are looking at your body? Yeah. It's just so, it speaks to the problem. Like, guys, if that's what you're looking at, if you're looking at my body, you are missing the message. You're missing
it. Exactly. It's perfect. It's like you are reinforcing why Beauty Redefined is so important. Yes. Thank you so much.
Yes, that should be your answer. You know what? Clearly you needed this. If that's what you think, whether it's totally a compliment or an insult, either way they're going, they need the message.
Amen.
And we all do. So thank you for sharing this with us, because no matter where we're at on this journey, like you said, it's a continual process. Even as we know this, we still continue to have setbacks. We have body disruptions. We have to readjust and get back in the right place.
Yes, absolutely. But I know, even though I'm steeped in this really dark research and sad stories, I have more hope than anybody that women can do this, that the tides are turning for women and we're recognizing our power and our purpose beyond our bodies.
Yes. Oh, well, thank you for the work you're doing to help women. I know it's been helpful for my listeners. I love reading all the good stuff you guys put out. So thank you. Thank you.
Oh, thank you.
Yes. And thank you everyone for listening to Moms Who Know. Lexie's message of being more than a body, of being put here to do more than just be beautiful is so powerful. I hope you really take that to heart. For show notes, be sure to visit momswhoknowpodcast.com.